Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Skills and Abilities. Today we're going to be looking at the Amazon passive and magic skill known as Inner Sight. Inner Sight is a rather simple ability that is actually pretty sweet. It has a lot of good things going for it, and quite honestly, there are a lot of characters that can use it. Not only can the Amazon herself use it, but it is also a readily and spammable skill on the Act 1 Mercenary. So if you do go with the Act 1 Mercenary, you will have Inner Sight pretty much forever. And on top of that, you can also obtain Inner Sight in the form of charges on a multitude of items. And I'd like to go over those really quickly. So circlets, amulets, Amazon bows, Amazon javelins, and Amazon spears can all obtain up to level 6 Inner Sight, which is negative 140 defense, which lasts for 24 seconds. These are charges. Gloves can have up to level 4 Inner Sight with 30 charges, and that is negative 90 defense with 16-second duration. So everybody can have this, but of course the better ones are going to be the higher level ones from the Amazon and the Act 1 Rogue Mercenary. So what exactly does Inner Sight do? Well, Inner Sight reduces the defense of a monster directly. So if you are a character that has a bow, a ranged weapon of some kind, or a melee weapon of some kind, and you are trying to hit a target, Inner Sight will help you because it reduces the defense of the monster, which enables you to hit more readily. So in other words, you can guarantee a hit. Now, at higher levels, it actually does some pretty crazy numbers. But even with just 1 point, as you can see, it will reduce the monster's defense by 305. Recently, they increased the radius by quite a bit. The radius used to be 13 1/3 yards, and now it's 18 yards, so it does hit a lot more in the same time period, well, the same cast. So if we go to like Frigid Highlands real quick, actually, you know what, let's go somewhere dark, because it's easier to see in the dark. Let's go to Catacombs level 2. Now when you use the ability, I'm pretty sure it actually works through walls, if I remember correctly. It lights up the target. So as you can see, they actually obtain a light radius, which is probably one of the coolest things. And can be used very easily for that purpose, just for the light radius itself. They also gain little sparkles on the character. So the characters start to sparkle, the monsters rather. And it kind of lets you know that they are under the effect of the ability. Now, the thing about this sparkling is that it is not a curse. Alright, so we need to go over this really quickly, and we need to talk about what overwrites the ability and what doesn't overwrite the ability. Alright, so normally you would think that it would have to overwrite, say, amplify damage, or decrepify, or maybe it overwrites slow missiles, or any of those other things, but the correct answer is actually it overwrites nothing. Yes, you heard me right. It overwrites nothing. It will not overwrite curses. It will not overwrite slow missiles. The only thing that it can overwrite is itself, and Inner Sight can be up at the same time as slow missiles. They can both be up at the same time. And if you don't believe me, I will actually paste into stream chat this line directly from Amazon Basin that actually says, doesn't conflict with slow missiles or curses. All three can be applied at the same time, which is pretty darn cool. That means there's absolutely no reason not to have it up constantly on essentially all the targets that you can possibly have it up on, which is freaking great. And Inner Sight is pretty nasty in terms of what it does for a melee and a ranged character, because the negative defense just continues to rise, and most monsters don't even have this much defense. So taking away their defense is just a really nice way to just completely ruin any chance they have of dodging your attack. So if I were to reset my character real quick, let's take a look and see how high Inner Sight goes at this particular point. And let's go ahead and give ourselves some strength so we can wear our equipment. So we're looking at level 29 Inner Sight with a total negative enemy defense of 1,515, which is pretty amazing. This is kind of insane as far as what it does for your attack rating. And honestly, it's a better use of points than Penetrate itself, because reducing the monster's defense is going to directly influence how well you hit the target. However, it will not be reflected here. So when you are looking at your attack rating on this list, even though it says 51% chance to hit the target, it's not accurate. Because it's not reflecting the negative defense that you've applied to the target. So, like, if I were to go to somewhere like Canyon of the Magi, and let me see if I can find, like, a beetle or something. Try not to run into the entire horde of beetles. So here we have some steel scarabs, and as you can see, my chance to hit the steel scarabs is only 34%. If I cast the Inner Sight on them, if I can survive. If I cast the Inner Sight on them, their defense is going down by 1,515, and now all of a sudden I can hit them with literally every single hit, which is certainly pretty sweet. Let's take a look real quick and let's see how much a Steel Scarab has in Hell difficulty. So to do that, we're going to pull up a list of monsters. Alright, and according to this list, the Steel Scarab has a defense that is not listed. Well, that's not helpful. Let's try a different website. Immunity. Defense is only 95 in normal difficulty. In Hell difficulty, their defense is 2,241, according to this chart. So we have a negative of 1,515, which means that this monster's H defense is going down to next to nothing. Let's do a quick calculation, shall we? So 2,241 minus 1,515, which means the monster's defense is now only 726. 726 is like nothing. Let's take a look at the Nightmare version of this monster, which is only 974. So 726 is less defense than the Nightmare version of the same beetle, which means that we will have absolutely no trouble hitting the monster with our measly 1,070 attack rating. And that's the power of Inner Sight. Inner Sight just simply makes it so that most monsters, and actually players too, as Kyle pointed out in chat, that they don't have any defense anymore. You can literally just rip that defense right away from them, and it lasts for a really long time. It's a 120-second duration, and it also lights the targets up. It can be stacked with slow missiles, which is absolutely great, and you can even get it on charges on gloves. You can get it charges on amulets and all sorts of other things, and you can get a decent amount. It's not going to be as good as the Amazons, but level 6 will get you a nice negative 165 defense off the target. And in normal difficulty and in Nightmare difficulty, that's a lot of defense off the target. That's like the entire defense of the monster in normal. It's about 25% of the defense of a monster in Nightmare difficulty. And while it might not be a huge amount in Hell difficulty, it will probably still increase your percent chance to hit by quite a bit. And let's take a look at the Act 1 Rogue Mercenary as well. So let me pull off his equipment. And we're going to take a look and we're going to see what level she has. We might as well give her some equipment too. Because it'd be interesting to see what level the Act 1 Rogue Mercenary gets up to. Because if it's high enough, if the Act 1 Rogue Mercenary's Inner Sight is high enough, then guess what? It's better than a Blessed Aim Mercenary from Act 2. Alright, so let's grab Claudia. Claudia!
I'll put that to good use.
Alright, so with a Chains of Honor and a Andy's Visage, she is looking at level 34 Inner Sight. It's higher than mine. At negative 2,015. Holy crap, that is really good, actually. So in retrospect, you got to think that the Act 1 Rogue Mercenary is giving you more than just simply a fire arrow and an exploding arrow, she's also giving you this amazing inner sight ability, which is stripping the defense from the targets around you. So if you're a melee or a ranged character that doesn't have access to inner sight, then having a mercenary with inner sight is a huge bonus to you in general. It's better, honestly, than Blessed Aim. Blessed Aim is going to bring up your attack rating, but inner sight brings down the monster's defense total. And as we discovered, there's absolutely no reason not to have inner sight running all the time, because it does not conflict with slow missile, it does not conflict with curses, and you can literally run it for free. There's also some other interesting things about the defense mechanic on inner sight. So the defense is actually applied after Stone Skin doubles the monster's defense, but before any plus defense modifiers on the character or monster. So for instance, if you were a barbarian, let's take a barbarian in PvP, and the barbarian has a Stone Skin modifier, the Stone Skin modifier will take effect first, doubling the defense. Then any plus defense equipment that you have or skills like shouts will take in effect after the negative resistance. So the negative resistance is actually attacking the base number with Stone Skin applied. If you don't have Stone Skin, it's attacking the base number, which is a lot worse for the monster and a lot better for you than you think. Because what that means is let's say you were using something like Fortitude that has chilling armor proc on it or something of that nature. Or you have a barbarian use his shouts on you and he gives you a huge bonus to defense. Well, the bonus to defense from those skills is applying to your base. And inner sight is ripping away your base, which means you end up with very low defense, because 1,000% of nothing is still going to be nothing. As if right now, my defense is 1,943. So she currently has an inner sight of level 34, which is negative 2,015, which means my defense will be 0. According to the chart here, it does say that you cannot reduce a monster below 0. So I would just simply hit 0, because the inner sight is higher defense negative than what my current defense is. Which means that if a barbarian used shout on me, if I was using a fortitude which had chilling armor proc, if I had any other items on me that were enhancing defense, they would do nothing. And that's pretty much it when it comes to inner sight. It's a very powerful ability. It's a very simple ability. But it's definitely one that makes the Act 1 Rogue Mercenary a very powerful tool in the melee and ranged characters arsenal. Now, if you're a caster, who cares? You don't care about defense. So what does it even matter to you? It doesn't matter at all. This also means, by the way, that the Act 1 Rogue Mercenary herself really doesn't need attack rating either. She doesn't need ITD or any of those other things, because if she's reducing the defense of all the monsters by 2015, she's probably hitting her shots the majority of the time. And as you'll notice, she actually uses the ability quite often. Often enough that you really don't even have to worry about utilizing it yourself in any way, shape, or form. Like if I come out here to these guys, I mean, you'll notice that within a few shots, she usually ends up casting it. Of course, she's going to make a liar out of me. There you go. And then she's used it, and everything within range is nice and sparkly. Ow! I don't have any points in vitality. Stop shooting at me. Alright, guys and gals. As always, I do appreciate you watching my videos, and tune in next time, because we're going to be going over slow missiles.